has no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast. Good fate to his hanging. May the rope of his destiny our cable, for all not have little advances. If he be not going to be hanged, then our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Here! Over! Bring your guitar, my cord! Wow! Yet again, what's the news here? Rescue one! It's telling him over his ground! Oh, pass it your throat, you probably fast as a triple dog! Work you then!
Hey, you bird, you insolent horse on noise maker! We'll let the break be drowned with our watch. I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship would no leakier than a nutshell, and as leak as strong as a huntsman's quench.
Clear a hole! A hole! Let us be forced off to see it! Clear off!
Hans, Lahans, to prayers, to prayer! Hans, Lahans!
Let the mouth be cold!
The king at prayers! Let's assist him, for our case is as his!
Oh, I'm out of patience!
We really took them our lives by conquerors! This wine shop masterfully our life washing during the crowding at 10 times! So, he'll be hanged yet! Though every drop of water swear against it, and getting that right is to clutch him!
We split! Man, around brother, we split! We split! We split!
Let us sink with the king!
Let's take leave of him!
Now when I get 1,000 furlongs of sea, for an acre of bare ground, long heath, round firs, anything, the will's above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in the roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down sinking pitch, but the sea, not to welcome's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those I saw suffer. A brave vessel that, which no doubt held some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they have perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere the ship so swelled, and the frotting souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Woe the day.
No harm. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence thou came, that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell, and thy father.
Lord to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
This time I inform thee farther. Lend thy hand, and pluck my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Now wipe thou thine eyes, and have comfort. The dark spectacle of the rack I have by my art so safely ordered that no harm has come to any creature in the vessel. Sit down, for thou must now know further.
Often you have begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour is now come. Obey and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out but 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once attended me?
Thou hast, and more, Miranda, but how is it that this lives in thy memory? What else seest thou in the deep, dark abysm of time? Canst thou remember when we came here?
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda. 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Are you not my father?
piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter, and thy father the Duke of Milan, and thou his only heir and princess.
Oh, heavens, what foul play had we came from hence? Or, blessed was what he did.
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence, but blessedly helped hither.
My heart bleeds from this remembrance. Please you farther.
My brother and thy uncle called Antonio. Now mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious, he whom of all the world I loved, and put to him the manage of my state. Prospero, the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and I to my state grew a stranger, being wrapped in secret studies. Dost thou attend me?
Certainly, sir, I do.
Being once perfected in how to grant suits and how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash, he new formed the creatures that were mine, and changed them, or new formed them, having the key of both officer and office. He set all the hearts of the state to what tune pleased his ear. Dost thou attend?
Sir, most heedfully.
Now mark me. I thus neglected worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, and in my false brother await an evil nature, and my trust did beget of him a falsehood, so which had indeed no limit. He being thus lorded in not only in what my revenue yielded, but what my powers might else exact, he did believe he was indeed the Duke, executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative. Dost thou hear?
Your tale, sir, would cure deafness.
He needs would be absolute Milan. Me, poor man, my library was dukedom large enough. He thinks me now incapable, and with the King of Naples, pays him annual tribute, does him homage, and subjects his coronet to the king's crown.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark his condition and the event, and then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin but to think nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
The King of Naples, being an enemy to me, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he should extricate presently me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Milan with all the honors on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness, the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me, and thy crying self.
Oh, alas, having not cried out then will cry it over again. It is a hint that brings mine eyes to it. Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not, so dear the love my people bore me, and nor did they put a mark so bloody on the business. They hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues out to sea, where they prepared the rotten carcass of a boat, not rigged, nor sail, nor tackle, mast. The very rats had instinctively quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alas, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, no. A cherubim thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile with a fortitude from heaven.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, did give us. along with some rich garments, linens, stuffs, necessaries that have since steaded us well. So too, of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he did furnish from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Oh, but am I could ever see that man?
Sit still, and hear the rest of our sea sorrow. Here in this island did we arrive, and here have I been thy patient schoolmaster.
Heavens, thank you for it. But now, for Tilton's beaching on my mind, your reason for raising the sea storm.
By accident, most strange, hath mine enemies been brought to this shore. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, servant. Come. I am ready now. Approach my Ariel. Come.
All hail, great master, great sir, hail! I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride the curled clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel, in all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article, I boarded the king's ship, now in the beak, on the waist, on the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and the bowsprit I would flame distinctly, then meet together and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors. Oh, the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary in sight, outrunning were not. The fires and cracks of the sulphurous roar of the most mighty Neptune made his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
That's my brave spirit. But who was so firm, so constant that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad and played some trick of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then, all afire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair upsteering, was the first to yell, and then, like reeds, not hairs, jumped off the ship and yelled, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here!"
That's my spirit. But Ariel, was this not nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
And are the Ariel safe?
Not a hair perished. On their garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And, as thou badest me, I dispersed them in troops about the isle. The king's son Ferdinand I left in an odd angle of the isle by himself, cooling off the air with sighs, his arms tangled in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship and the rest of the mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely is the king's ship. In the harbor where once thou called me up to fetch midnight dew from the steel-vexed vermouths. There she is hid. The mariners I left under hatches, and with a charm joined to their supper favor, I left asleep. As for the rest of the fleet, which I have dispersed, they are now met again and are on the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home from Naples, supposing they saw their kingship wrapped in their great person that perished.
Ariel, that charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What's the time of the day?
Past the mid-season?
At least 2 glasses. The time 'twixt 6 and now must by us both be preciously spent.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remind thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now, moody? What is thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out? No more.
I prithee, remember, I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakings, served without grudge or grumblings. Thou did promise to bake me a full year.
Hast thou forgot from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinkst it much, to ride the sharp wind in the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost?
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing! Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who was grown within a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou dost. Where was she born? Speak, tell me.
Sir, in Argier.
Oh, was she so? I must once a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgettest. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible, from Argier was banished. Is this not true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant, but for thou wast too delicate a spirit to work her earthy and abhorrent commands. Refusing her, she did confine thee, in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift thou didst painfully remain imprisoned 12 years. Then was this island not honored with a human shape, save for the son that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. That Caliban whom now I keep in service. Thou best remember what a torment I did find thee here. It was a torment to make wolves howl, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived, and her deed that made gape the pine and let thee out. Huh?
I thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Oh, I will correspond to commandment and do my spiriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
That is my noble master. What shall we do? Say what shall we do?
Go, make thyself like a nymph of the sea, subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Hence, with diligence. Awake, awake, dear heart, thou hast slept well.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. We'll go visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain. I do not love to look on.
Nevertheless, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in other offices that profit us. What ho, slave, Caliban! Thou, earth thou, speak!
There's wood enough within.
Come forth! There's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise! Fine apparition, my dainty spirit. Hark in thine ear.
My master, it shall be done.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth!
As wicked dew as e'er my mother, brushed with raven's feather, drop on you both! A southwest blow on ye, and blister you all over!
For this tonight, be sure, thou shalt have trances. Side stitches shall pin thy breath up, urchins shall come forth in mass exercise upon thee. Thou shalt be as pinched, as thick as honeycomb. Each pinch more stinging than the bees that made him.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine by Sycorax, my mother, which thou takest from me. When thou camest first, thou didst roast me, and made much of me, would give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the island, the fresh springs, brine pits, barren place, and fertile. Cursed be I that did so! All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats, light on you! For I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine, O king! And here you stay me, in this hard rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I use thee, filth as thou art, with human care. Lodge thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, would it's been done, thou didst prevent me. Else I'd had peopled this island with Calibans.
Abhorred slave, which any print of goodness will not take, being capable of all ill, I pity thee. Took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, and when thou didst not, savage, know thy own meaning, but wouldst gabble a thing most brutish, I endowed thy powers with words to make them known. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, in it which goodwill cannot abide in, wouldst thou deservedly confined to this rock, who hast deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language. And my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rids you for learning me your language.
Exceed hence. Fetch us in fuel. Be quick, thou art best, and answer other business. Troublest thou malice? If thou neglectst, or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, and make thee roar till beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No! Pray you must obey. His art is of such power that it would control my damned god Tempest and make a vassal of him.
Go, Sarah, hence!
Come unto these yellow sands and then take hands. Curtsy while you haven't kissed the wild waves whisk. Footed feet thee here and there, and sweet sprites bear the burden. I hear the watchdogs bark. Bark, I hear them again. straining, strutting sound of Chanticleer crying,
Where should his music be? In the air of the earth. It sounds no more, and sure it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's racket crept by me upon the waters, allaying both its fury and my passion with its sweet air. But 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
O fathom five, thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, except suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs Owry ring his knell. Hark, I hear them.
This ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no heir the earth owes. I hear it now, above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance. Say what thou seest, Jan.
What is it? 'Tis a spirit. Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, wench, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have such. This gallant thou seest was in the rack, and but he's somewhat stained with grief that's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on as I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit finds spirit. I'll feed thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure, the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer may know if you were bane upon this island, and might you some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce is, oh, you wonder, if you be made or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly made.
My language, heavens, I am the best of these to speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How? The best? What wert thou if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing as I am now that wonders to hear you speak of Naples. He does hear me, and he does I weep. Myself from Naples, who with mine own eyes never since it had beheld the king my father's wrath.
Alack, for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter couldn't control thee now before it's fit to do it. At first sight they've changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir. I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my father so gently? 'Tis the third man that e'er I saw, and the first man that e'er I sighed for. Oh, pity, move my father to incline my way.
Well, if a virgin and your affections not gone forth, I'll make you the queen of Naples.
Soft, sir. One word more. They are both in either powers now, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more. I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost usurp the name thou ownest not, and hast put thyself on this island as a spy to win it from me, the lord on it.
No, as I am a man.
Nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. The ill spirits have such a fair house. Good things will strive to dwell in it.
Come. Follow me. Speak not to for him, he's a traitor. I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels and the withered roots and husks wherein the acorns cradle. Come.
No! I will resist such entertainment until my enemy has more power.
Oh, father, make not too rash should triumph him, for he is gentle and not fearful.
What, I say? Put up thy sword, traitor! That makes the show, but dares not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Put up thy sword, come up from that ward. I can here disarm you with this staff and make thy weapon drop.
Oh, beseech you,
Oh,
father!
hang not on my garment!
Have pity on me, his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee. If not, hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush! Thou thinkest there are no such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban? Foolish wench! There must have been. This is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
Then I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, follow, thy nerves are in their infancy again, and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's lost. The weakness that I feel, this man's threats, and whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through this prison once a day, behold this maid. All the corners of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on. Thou hast done well, Ariel. Follow me. Hark what else thou shalt do me. Come.
Be of comfort, sir, for my father's a better nature than he appears by speech, and this is unwanted which now came from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mutinous as the mountain winds, but then do every point of my command.
To the syllable.
Follow, and speak not for him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all of joy, for our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant themselves have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor wouldn't give him over so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his weight. By and by, it will strike.
Sir,
One toe,
when every grief is entertained that is offered, comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Ah, yes, dolour comes to him indeed. You have spoken truer than you proposed.
And you have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord,
Prithee, spare.
well I have done. But yet,
We will be talking.
Which of he or Adrian will begin to crow first? For good wager.
The old cock.
I'll go with the cockle.
Done. The wager.
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert, uninhabitable and almost inaccessible,
Yes.
yet there must needs be a subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Aye, temperance was a delicate wench.
And as subtle as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs.
Oh yes, or were perfumed by a fen.
here is everything advantageous to life.
Yes, save a means to life.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
The ground is indeed tawny.
With an eye of clean on it.
He misses not much.
No, he doth mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit,
As many vouched rarely are.
that our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained in salt water.
Yet, but if one of his pockets could speak, would it not say that he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we were at first in Africa, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Claribel to the king of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in its return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he'll carry this island home in his pocket and give it to his son as an apple.
Yes, and sowing the kernels of it into the sea, bring forth more good islands in time.
Sir, We were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were in Tunis, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen. Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first time I put it on? I mean in a sort, when I wore it at your daughter's marriage?
You cram these words into my ears against the stomach of my sense. Would that I had never married my daughter there, for in coming thence my son is lost, and in my rage she too, who is so far from Italy removed. I never again shall see her. Oh, my heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish have made to meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most bold that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and he oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may think yourself for this great loss, that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where at least she is banished from your eye, who have cause to it the grief on it.
Prithee,
You were
peace.
kneeled to, importuned to, otherwise by us all. The very soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end or the being should bow. We have lost your son. I fear forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business making than weeping men to comfort them. The fault is your own.
So is the dearest of the lost.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
Just foul weather when it's all good, sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather.
Very foul.
Had I plantation on this isle, my lord, and were king on it, what would I do?
Escape you drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit. No name of magistrate, letters should not be known. Riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of corn, or metal, or oil, or wine. No occupation, all men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
And he is the king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth seems to have forgotten the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pipe, knife, gun, or use of any engine would I not have. But nature should bring forth its own kind in all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among his subjects.
None. All idle, whores and knaves.
I will govern with such perfection, my lord, 'twould excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Oh, long live Gonzalo.
And, do you mock me, sir?
Prithee no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe, sir, and did so to minister occasion to these gentlemen, who are such sensible and nimble lungs, that they always used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you that we laughed at.
And who in this merry fooling am nothing to you, so you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
Oh, what a blow there was given.
That had not fallen flat long.
You are a gentleman of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go a fat fouling.
Nay, my good lord, be not angry.
No, I'll warrant you. I would not adventure my discretion so weakly when you laugh me asleep, for I am very heavy.
Sleep and hear us. Sleep and hear us.
What? All so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would shut up themselves with my thoughts.
Please, sir, do not omit the heavy author of it. Its sorrow is its sorrow. When it does, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, shall stay here while you rest and guard your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
But a strange drowsiness has possessed them.
It must be quality of the climate.
Why doth it not our eyelids sink? I find myself not disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They all seem to fall as if by consent, some sort of thunderstroke. What might, oh worthy Sebastian, oh what might, no more. And yet, methinks I see it in thy face. What thou mightest be, my strong imagination sees a crown upon your head.
Art thou waking?
Do you hear me?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of your sleep. What a strange repose, to be asleep, with your eyes open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Oh, noble Sebastian, you lit your fortune in sleep. Die, rather.
Thou dost snore distinctly.
I am more serious than is my custom, and you should be so too if you be.
Well, I'm treading water.
And I'll teach you to flow.
Do so.
If you knew how you cherish the purpose whilst you mock it, how in stripping it, you more invested.
The setting of thy eyes in chief proclaim a matter which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, and he who shall be of little memory when he's earth, the king, his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleep here swims.
I have no hope that Ferdinand is drowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what great hope hath. For out of that no hope comes so great of a hope that not even ambition can pierce a wink beyond it. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then who's the next heir to Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis. She that from Naples could have no note unless the sun were her post, because the man in the moon happens to be too slow. She by whom we were all sea-swallowed and cast again, and put here to perform an act. What's past is prologue, and yours and my discharge.
What things are these? What say you? 'Tis true, my brother's daughters, queen of Tunis, and heir of Naples. Betwixt regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, Claribel! How shall he measure us back to Naples? Stay in Tunis, and let Sebastian live. Oh, if you bore the mind as I do. What a sleep this was for your advancement. Do you even understand?
Methinks I do.
And how does that content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother in Prospero.
True. And look how much better my clothes sit on me than before. My brother's servants were once my fellows. And now you know what? They're my men.
But for your conscience.
Where lies that? No such deity has ever resided in my bosom. The 20 consciences that stand betwixt me and Milan can be day and ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon, whom I, with my 3 inches of obedient steel, could lay to bed forever. And you doing thus for this old morsel, this Sir Prudence, who would dare to upbraid our course. And as for the rest, why, they'd lap it up as a kitten laps milk. They would fix the clock to any business that we say to fix the hour.
Thy case, my friend, shall be my president. As thou come by Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword, one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Now, when I rear my hand to fall upon Alonso, you do the like.
But a word.
My master, through his art, foresees the danger that you, his friend, are, and sends me forth, or else his project dies to keep them living. While you here do snore and lie, open-eyed conspiracy his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, Shake off slumber and beware. Awake. Awake.
Now be quick about it.
Now, good angels, preserve the king.
Hold up! Ho! Awake! Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Well, while we stood here, guarding your repose, we heard a hollow burst of bellowing, like bulls, rather lions. Did not wake you. It struck my ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, sir, 'tis true, it was a din of fright. The whole monster's here. By the sound of it, it must have been a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
Upon my honor, sir, I heard a humming, and a strange one indeed that did awake me. I shook you and cried. When my eyes waked, I saw the weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily. 'Tis best we stand our guard, and that we quit this place. Let us draw our weapons.
Lead off this round, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heavens, keep him from these beasts, for he is sure harm either.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I've done. So go, king. Go seek thy son.
All the infections that the sun sucks up from bogs, fens flats, on Prosper fall, and make him my intrigue and his ease. Spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse, for they'll nor pinch, fright me with urchin shows, pitch me in the mire, nor will they lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way, unless he bid 'em. Yet for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes that row and chatter at me and have to fight me. Then, like hedgehogs, they lie tumbling in my bare footpath and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes am I all wound with adders who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo, here comes the spirit of this, and to torment me for bringing the wood in slowly. Above that, perchance he will not mind me.
Here's neither bush nor shrub to bear any weather off at all. And another storm brewing, I can hear it sing in the wind. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one. Looks like
and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there would give, but a piece of silver. There would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to a little lamb bigger, they will lay out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legged like a man, and fins like arms. Ah! Warm of my trough! I do let loose my opinion now. Hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath recently suffered by thunderbolt. Alas, a storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There is no other shelter hereabouts. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. Here I will shroud until the dregs of the storm be past.
I shall no more to see. Here shall I die. Sure. It's a scurvy tune to sing in a man's funeral. Here's my comfort. The master, the spotter, the boatswain, and I, the gunner, and his mate. The Val and Meg and Marjorie and Marion, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had it hung with the tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She did not hold of labor, upon or of pitch, though a tailor could scratch her where'er she did itch. Such a seedy boy's letter, hang. That's a scurvy tune, too. Here's my comfort. Do not torment me! Oh! What's the matter? Do we have devils here? Do you put tricks upon it with savages and men of Indies? Huh? I have not escaped drowning to be a fear of your 4 legs, or as it's been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs shall not be given ground. And it shall be said so again. Well, Stefano breathes at nostrils. The spirit torments me. Oh! This is a beast of the isle, with 4 legs and, as I take it, an ague. Where the devil did he learn our language? I will give him some relief if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he will be a present for any emperor that's trod on neat's leather. Do not torment me. I'll bring my woman hold fast. He's in his fits now. He does not talk after the wisest. I will give him some of my bottle. If he have never drunk wine before, it will go near to remove his fits. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He will pay for him but half him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Thou wilt nod. I know it by thy trembling. Now prosper works on you.
Come on your ways. Open your mouth. This is what will give language to you, cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you that, and soundly. Open your mouth. You don't know who's your friend. Open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be, but he is brown and these are devils. Oh, defend me!
4 legs, 2 voices, most delicate monster. His forward voice is to speak well of his friend, and his backward voice to utter foul speeches and detract. If all the wine in my bottle can recover him, I will help his ague. Come! Amen! I shall pour some in my other mouth.
Stefano!
Doth thy other mouth calling? Mercy, mercy! This is a devil, no monster. I must leave this place. I have no long spoon.
Stefano! If thou beest Stefano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. See not appears thy goodness.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forward! I will pull thee by the lesser legs. If any legs be Trinculo, these be they. Thou art very Trinculo, indeed! How did thou get in the siege of this moon calf? Can you fence Trinculos?
I took him to be killed by a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned, Stefano? I hope now thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid myself under the dead moon calf's gabardine in fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stefano? Oh, Stefano, to the apology escaped!
Prithee, swing me. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, and if they not be sprites, that's a brave god, and their celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
Here, swear. How camest thou hither? How thou escaped? Kiss the book. Tell me, how camest thou hither? I escaped on a butt of sack that the sailors heaved overboard by this bottle, which I made with my own 2 hands when I came ashore.
I'll swear by thy bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear. How did thou escape?
Still on the shore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Kiss the book. Though thou can swim like a duck, thou art shaped like a goose.
Oh, Stefano, hast any more of this?
The whole butt, man. My cellar is in a rock by the seaside where my line is hid. How now, moon calf? How is thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure you, I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I adore thee. My mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Here, swear to that. We'll fill it with new contents and on.
This is a very shallow monster. I have feared of him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon, a most poor, credulous monster. Well drawn monster, in good sooth.
I island. I'll kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my God.
A most perfidious and drunken monster. When God's asleep, he'll rob his bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I swear myself thy subject.
Very well. Down and swear.
I shall have myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A scurvy monster. I could find it in my heart to beat him.
Come on, swear.
But the poor monster to drink. An abominable monster.
I'll show thee all the fresh springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee and get thee wood enough. A plague upon the tyrant I served. I'll bear him no more sticks, but follow thee, thou wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster. Make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee to where crabs grow, and I, with my long nails, will dig thee pig nuts, show thee a jay's nest, instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I will bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll bring thee young scabbards from the rocks. Wilt thou go with me?
Prithee, monster, lead the way. Without any more talking.
Trinculo, our king and all our company ere being drowned, we will inherit here.
There, my bottle. We will fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master! Farewell. Farewell.
A howling monster. A drunken monster.
No more dams I'll make for fish, nor fetch in firing at requiring, nor scrape trencher, no scrape fish, bam, cattle bad. Got a new master, get a new man, freedom, hiding, freedom, freedom,
Oh, monster, lead the way.
Maybe some sports are painful, and in their labor delightness sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. Oh, this, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens which dead, makes my labor's pleasures. She's 10 times more gentle than her father. He's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work. Says such baseness had never liked executive. I forget it. These thoughts do refresh my labors. Most busiest when I do.
Alas, now, pray you've worked on so hard. I would the lightning have burnt up those logs that you're enjoying to pile. Oh, pray now, rest yourself. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father's hard at study. Pray now rest you. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Most mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what it is I must strive to do.
If you'll set it down, I'll bear your logs a while. Pray you, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
You precious creature, I'd rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It should become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease. For my goodwill is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected.
You
This
look
visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress. 'Tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda! Oh, Father, I broke your heart to say so.
Admired Miranda, indeed, the top of admiration worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady have I with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I, like several women. Never any was so full of soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, putting it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex no woman's face remember, save from my glass my known, nor have I seen more than I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. Oh, my modesty, the jewel of my dower. I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like. But I prattle, something too wildly, and my father's precepts I there and do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so. And would no more endure this wooden slavery than suffereth fly breeding in my mouth. Hear my soul speak. From the instant I saw you, my heart did fly to your service, and there resides, making me slave to you. And for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven. Bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with kind event. Invert what is best boded me to mischief. I, beyond all the earth, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breathes between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer what I shall desire to give, and will not take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and more it seeks to hide itself the bigger bulk it shows. Oh, hence bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I will be your wife if you will mirror me. If not, I shall die your maid. To be your fellow you may deny me, but I'll be your servant whether you will or no.
My mistress dearest, and I, thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
I, with a heart as willing as bondage heir to freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. And now, farewell, till half hour hence.
1,000,000.
So glad of this as they I cannot be, but my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Tell not me when the butt is empty. Then we will drink water, but not a drop before. Therefore, bear up and boredom, servant monster. Drink to me.
Servant monster? The folly of this island. They say there's but 5 on this island. We are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brained like us, the state totters.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where else should they be set? He'd be a wise monster if they were set in his tail.
My man monster has dropped his tongue in sack. As for me, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore, 35 leagues off. By this light, thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard bearer.
Your lieutenant, if you list. He's not standard.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life, if thou beest a brave mooncalf.
Come this way, Otter, let me look thy foot. He's not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am a case to just with the constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou? Was there a man, ever a coward, that hath drunk so much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, being but half a fish, and half a monster?
Lo, how he mocks me. Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he, oh, that a monster should be such a natural.
Lo, thou again! Bite him to death, I prithee!
Trinculo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. This monster is my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry will I. Kneel, tell it again, and I shall stand, and so shall Trinculo.
Why, as I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, who hath by cunning cheated me of this ire.
Thou liest!
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! Oh, I would my valiant lord would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, interrupt him in his tale no further, or by this hand I'll supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Then, and no more. Proceed.
I say, from me he got the island. From me! If thou, valiant lord, would revenge it upon him, for I know thou darest, for this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
You shall be ruler of it all, and I will be thy subject.
How can this be to come pass? Can thou bring me to the party?
Yea, yea, my lord. I'll yield him to thee, asleep. There thou mayest knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest! Thou canst not!
What a pie ninny's this, thou scurvy patch! Oh, I do beseech my lord to give him blows, and take his bottle. For without it, he'll have naught to drink but brine, for I'll not show him where the quick freshes are.
Trinculo, running into no further danger, interrupt him in his suit one word further, and by this hand I will turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of you.
Why? What did I? I did nothing. I'll go off farther.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest!
Do I now? Take thou that up!
I did not give the lie. Out of your wits in hearing to this can sack and drinking do. A pox on your bottle, a rain on your monster, and the devil take your fingers.
Proceed with with your tail. Prithee, stand farther.
Oh, beat him enough! And after a little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther. Proceed.
As I told thee, 'tis a custom with him in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayest brain him, having first seized his books, or with the log, batter his skull, or punch him with the stake, or cut his weasel with thy knife. Remember first to possess the books, for without them he is but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books. Oh, he has brave utensils, for so he calls them, which when he has a house, he'll deck withal. And most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a nonpareil. I never saw a woman but Sycorax my dam, and she so far surpasseth Sycorax, as greatest does the least.
Is she so brave, alas?
Aye, my lord. She'll become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I shall become king and queen. God save our graces. And you and Trinculo will be our viceroys. Dost thou like this plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Trinculo, give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in your head.
Within this half hour will he be asleep? Wilt thou destroy him then?
On my honor.
This will I tell my master.
Thou makest me merry, and full of pleasure. Let us be joking. Will you trill the tune you taught me but while ere?
I'll grant thy request, monster. I'll give reason. Trinculo, let us sing.
That's not the tune.
What is this saying?
This is the tune of our catch played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, come forward. If thou beest a devil, stay to their list.
Oh God, forgive me my sins.
Lord, who dies, forgive us all sins. I defy thee, mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No. Master. Not I.
Be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears, and voices that, if I had awoken after a long sleep, would make me sleep again. In dreaming, the clouds, methought, would open up and show me riches, ready to shower down upon me, that when I awoke, I cried to dream again.
This will be a most precious island for me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed. Bye-bye, I remember the tale.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it and later do our work.
Monster, lead the way. I would I could see this Tabor. He really lays it off.
Who'd come? Abel Sapano.
Byre Lakin, sir. I can go no further. My old bones ache. This is a maze tried indeed through forthrights and meanders. And by your patience, I needs must rest me.
Oh Lord, I cannot blame thee. Who I myself am attached with weariness to the dawning of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will give up my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned whom thus we stray to find. And the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
Do not forget the purpose we were going to effect.
The next advantage we will take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for they cannot or will not use such vigilances when they're fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friend's heart.
Marvelous sweet music.
Give us kind keepers, heavens, what were these?
A living drollery. I now believe that there are unicorns. That in Arabia there's one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll swear it is true. Travelers ne'er defile those fools at home they condemn.
If in Naples, I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certain these are people of the island, who, though they are monstrous shaped yet note, their manners are more gentle kind than of our human generation you will find many, nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well, for there are some of you present who are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse, such shape, such sound, such gesture, expressing, although wanting the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
They have brought their viands, for we have stomachs. Would please you taste of what is here?
Not I.
Faith, sir, you need not fear. For when we were boys, who would believe that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find 5 for 1 will bring us good warrant of?
I will stand to and feed, although my last. No matter, since I fear the best is past. My lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
Men of sin, whom destiny hath caused to instrument the lower surface world, the never serpent at sea hath caused to belch up you. On this isle where men doth not inhabit, you monks men being most unfit to live. I have made you mad, and with such like valor men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools. I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of which your swords are tempered with may as well wound the loud winds, or be mocked at stabs, to still kill closing waters, as diminish one dowel that is in my room. My fellows are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, the elements of which your swords are tempered with are too massy for your strengths, and will not be uplifted. But remember, that is my business to you. That you free from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea him and his child, which hath requited, for which foul deeds the powers delayed. have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Be of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death could be, shall step by step attend you and your ways. Whose wrath to guard you from, which on this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but hard sorrow and misery, and a clear life ensuing.
Greatly hast thou the figure of this harpy performed, my Ariel, a grace it had devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated what thou hadst to say. My high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I will lead them to visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and my loved darling.
But what feet at a time up fight their legions, alright?
I'll be thy second. In the name of something holy, sir, why stand you there in this strange stare?
Oh, it's monstrous. Monstrous! We thought the billows told me of it. The winds did sing at me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, did pronounce the name of Prosper. Therefore, my son in the ooze is bedded. Not seeking deeper than ever, plummet sounded, and with him there right mud!
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like a poison, given to work a great time after, now begins to bite the spirits. I beseech you that are suppler joints, follow them swiftly, and hinder them from what this ecstasy may provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.